This episode is brought to you by Gold Peak. Dog sledding, yurt pitching, souffle baking, grill mastering, fire breathing, foraging, flying. What have you always wanted to try? And what are you waiting for? Gold Peak Real Brewed Tea is here to ignite passions and unleash your thirst for trying, because trying is what life is all about. So try the fresh taste of Gold Peak Real Brewed Tea and see what happens next. Visit goldpeakbeverages.com.
From the moment it hit my tongue, it's like my senses were strapped to a high-powered rocket. But the rocket was made of a memory foam pillow. Then, just like that, I was ready to start my morning. That's the thing with Philadelphia cream cheese. You don't just taste it, you feel it.
All right. Hi, this is William Ramsey. Welcome to William Ramsey Investigates. On tonight's show, I have three returning guests. We've done a number of discussions together, not maybe with the same group, but about the Great Reset and other topics. And tonight we're going to kind of talk about a topic that came to my attention for Ken and me. We've done a bunch of shows together, but that is this interesting Nephilim anthropology conference that's taking place. It's an online conference out of London with some very interesting figures and subjects, but it also just covers the topic of the Nephilim. So we're going to talk about that. And so Ken, Ammi, Zach, McGaha, and Chris Taylor from Don't Let Them Burn are here with me. So welcome, guys. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, sir.
So I was looking over this anthropology conference, and I've read Ken's book about the Nephilim. We did an interview about that, so it was interesting to kind of see some of the same topics for sure. But Steve Quayle popped up in the related pages, and so if anybody would like, maybe Ken, you were the one who kind of spotted this. If you'd like to start off and just add your commentary to the anthropology conference, Nephilim conference.
Well, the conference itself, one of the things we noticed, William noticed right away, is that originally it was going to take place at a Theosophist center. So that kind of clues us into the context, right? But then due to COVID issues, they decided to do it strictly online. But what they're telling us is that, quote, some of the best known experts in the field are, and I'm going to do a lot of quoting here, quote unquote, queer prophet, a queer poet, a quote unquote Soviet philosopher, a quote unquote clairvoyant, a quote unquote YouTube conspiracy theorist, a quote unquote radical prophecy writer, and a quote unquote comedian.
Right. But I feel like
so, I mean, I've written maybe, in fact, maybe 5 books on the issues of giants and Nephilim and all of that stuff, and maybe 2 others that are directly correlated to the issues. And in fact, by the way, I just finished writing another one on that issue this week.
What's the title of that one?
This one is going to be The Pastoral Nephilim and Giants, where I'm reviewing what various pastors have to say about these topics.
Uh-oh.
Okay, now I'm mentioning that because, that doesn't necessarily make me an expert, that I've spent ridiculous amounts of time through the year studying these issues from every angle I could think of. But the point being, some of the best known experts in the field, and I've never heard of most of them.
Right, neither have I.
So that should tell you something. One thing that this conference does have behind it is very good marketing. That's something I've noticed. They're hitting me up on Twitter and YouTube and wherever. And now one thing I wanted to point out that I know Chris can say some things about is that it was originally put together by a company named Nacon, which is a French video game company. So you will notice on the on the Facebook page for this conference, they do mention the fact that pop culture is kind of gone Nephilim crazy. So you can find references to them in video games and TV shows and movies. And by the way, if you ever go to somewhere like Amazon or Barnes and Nobles and search for Nephilim romance, man, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of books. So it kind of makes sense that a video game company would want to put together a conference like this to draw attention to the fact that they have games related to this issue.
And I mean, this is if you're looking on YouTube, or if you want to, you can see the graphic for the conference has a skull for some odd reason. I don't know what that tie-in is to the Nephilim, but they're definitely active on Facebook. They're definitely sending out information and trying to solicit, people to watch it for what, $9.95.
Wow.
You guys see that?
Yeah.
And how many presenters does the conference consist of?
Right, the number 11. Very, very significant numerology there. So not 10, not 12, but 11. Which we know is either a coincidence or incredibly meaningful, because number 11 is the premier occult number of magic. Right. Magic, the New World Order, the merging of the hexagram, the pentagram, it's all there. 11 is the number that is of us, right? Quoted in the Book of Law. So, but they have all these people here. Almost all of them have some kind of psychic or, philosophical background. I don't even know who Vladimir Wiedemann is. I've never heard of Rockastaldo.
Tell me about that.
So I don't know who these characters are, but...
They had to do a Bernie thing, but that's kind of a reason I stay away from a lot of it, because a lot of the people's backgrounds, they're never like traditional biblical scholars. They're always coming at it from some different angle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are very non-traditional scholars. I wouldn't say there's definitely not a Christian element, although this guy, David William Perry, seems to present himself as Christian-ish, I guess. I don't know.
Well, Jim Wilhelmshelm is one of the presenters, and I'd say he's definitely a Christian. I'd also say he definitely has a heart of gold. There's no question about it. I do happen to disagree with him on his views on these issues, but he's definitely got a heart of gold, honestly.
Yeah, he's got a heart of gold, but I always like when I talk about it, have to throw in there how he claimed to have direct revelation from God, wherein he wrote like a whole chapter of his book that he claimed to be from God. And then he also did this freaking weird sci-fi retranslation of a Bible verse.
Of a chapter. It was a whole chapter.
Yeah, so for those reasons, I actually warn people away from him.
Yeah.
Well, there's Chuck Missler here published on this website, Aliens Are Fallen Angels.
The thing is, if they want to put... I'm going to call it Gnostic. I don't know if you guys want to slap a lowercase g or an uppercase g on this, but just for the sake of communication, okay? This to me seems very Gnostic, considering the backgrounds that we talked about. And we can get into details on some of these backgrounds. But they do advertise it on the Facebook page as pertaining to quote-unquote biblical evidences, which should set the context that this isn't just... hey, I'm going to say whatever I want about Nephilim, but it's supposed to be about biblical evidences. And then they do refer to the Bible as quote unquote holy scripture. So, I mean, that does allow us to come within the context of biblical studies and judge what they're saying against that. And so let me just point that out. Yeah, this conference hasn't taken place yet. So we are speaking a bit prejudiciously regarding the content of the conference. But we're speaking about how they're advertising it, what the people are saying about themselves and about this issue beforehand.
Right. And, I mean, you can see here on their site, they're quoting Genesis 6:4.
Yeah.
And they're quoting all these other known scriptures. Here's another one.
And they're also posting...
in those days men have known.
Yeah, they're also posting charts like that one that are just so fallacious. I mean, they're so... erroneous.
How can you say that? It was by Rob. They actually are posting a Rob Skiba drawing right here. It actually has Rob Skiba's name on it.
Yeah. Well, I know. He based that on a chart that was put together by Joe Taylor, the curator of Mount Blanco Museum. And I wrote a whole chapter about that in my book, What Does the Bible Say About Giants and Nephilim? And I looked up every one of those references, and the only accurate one is the size of the average modern day guy. That's pretty much it. The other ones range from questionable to just absolutely inaccurate. It's sad. And they also, on that Facebook page, they post a lot of those photos of giant skeletons, you know what I mean? All those well-known fake ones. The one based on Joe Taylor. It's just inaccurate.
And did you see that they have Leo Zagami on here? Is he one of the 11 speakers? Did you see that somewhere else? Because that guy, he's supposedly the Illuminati insider sharing knowledge with everybody from Italy.
Yeah.
There's something up with that dude. He might be legit, but I kind of doubt it.
There's a couple of issues that dovetail into this whole Nephilim thing. You said this was set up by Theo-SciFi? Somebody in Theo-SciFi?
Well, it's taking place at a Theo-SciFi center. I think I can just show you the address here.
It originally was going to take place there, and then they moved it online.
I think they just showed an announcement. Here it is. Computer consultation venue. We've moved it, but then somewhere here it is. Theosophical Society in England. 50 Gloucester Place, London, W1U. I'm sure I can see that.
Because that dovetails into the pre-Adamic Earth, because Blavatsky taught about a pre-Adamic Earth in one of her books. I can't cite it right now. Wasn't prepared for that, but that came to mind when you guys were opening up. And then the idea of panspermia. For those that don't know, panspermia, it can mean a lot of different things, but one of the things it means is that aliens or celestials seeded the planet. That's how we got here, and it's part of our evolutionary experience. You'll find this in the New Age and other thoughts as well. And you'll also find it in Marvel Comics, DC Comics, video games, anime, and I'll cover a couple of those specific topics in a minute. I just wanted to point that out before we go on.
And it looks like this was supposed to be on May 1st, which is also kind of a day, meaningful day, right? So at least it was intended to be. So I think they changed it to April 24th. But something tells me they're moving forward with the biblical position, but they're going to pivot at some point. When you look at the general tenor of the speakers, I think.
But isn't that what Satan did?
Right.
What kind of name is Stedman?
I don't know. He's the acting Godai at the London Blot. I don't even know what a Godai or Blot is.
Yeah, but Satan came down with his insane campaign and pivoted on God's word, twisted it. So, not surprised they're doing that now.
Bottom line is we could just say, look, okay, so these guys aren't Christians, whatever. They can speak on any topic they want. What's that to us, right? But the thing is that this is sort of the ultimate byproduct of what I call the pop researchers have done with the issue of Nephilim in the Bible. And that is that they turned it into what I call Theo-SciFi. They've turned it into a sideshow freak show. Honestly, that field of research is absolutely saturated with misinformation and disinformation. It's a petri dish of erroneous claims, and it's really just quite stunning. To the point that this, in a way, doesn't surprise me that's gone so far. That they make something out of nothing, or just kind of just make everything as exciting and sexy as possible. To the point
expect the awesome, expect the radical, expect the challenging. These are their taglines, right?
They call it, quote, groundbreaking anthropology conference UK to uncover the true anthropology of the giant hybrids. So it's groundbreaking stuff that they're going to present here. And that's how you sell it, honestly. That's how you sell it. You make much ado about it. And let me give you just an example. This is a real-life example. So there was a report out of England about a cop who says he was overlooking a field that had a crop circle on it, and that there was a group of people that he reported as being over 6 feet tall. Who were wearing some kind of white outfits. And when they saw the cop, they ran off. And that was, that's the bottom line there. Well, with my shoes on, I'm over 6 feet tall. Okay, it's not very impressive. But when Steve Quayle reported on that, he claimed that they were 7 to 8 feet tall. And then when L.A. Marzulli reported on that, he said that they were 8 to 9 feet tall.